I'm trying to link it in with Agile, as in the kind of framework of working in IT. And I was thinking about running an experiment of using the culture deck in the retros, kind of a little bit what you did in the online class.
Mm-hmm.
But just bedding it into some of the Agile ceremonies. So I don't know if you have any examples of that already that has worked well, or any tips for that.
Somebody did mention the other day in one of our virtual masterclasses, though, they were an Agile coach, and their idea, I mentioned that you can use the game for intention setting. So this is a good chance for us to show you and have you experience the remote one, but I'll do this just so you can get a feel for it as well. So for the intention setting, don't ignore that question at the top there. For the intention setting question, it would be pick 3 to 5 cards that you want to feel in the next week or fortnight or month or year, whatever time frame you'd want to use. And so I mentioned that exercise, that really simple exercise, and she said, oh, imagine if we did that at the start of a project or the start of a sprint.
Yeah.
Because we've been using the weekly retros to review a sprint that you've done. So after 2 weeks, if that's your sprint period, going, okay, how did the sprint go? How did you feel during the sprint? And I hadn't thought of this, and I was like, sometimes these simple things that are right in front of me I never see. She's like, well, what if we got together at the start of the sprint and said, what do you want to feel on the upcoming sprint? And I was like, that's a really beautiful thing. And then you could then check at the end of it and go, how did we experience that on the sprint? Or if we did, why? And if we didn't, why? And use it as an inspiration again. So you can set the intentions for your upcoming sprint as an Agile coach.
Yeah.
Project intentions, I think I'm going to call it. Because you can use it for Tony and Monique, and probably for your reference, if you haven't seen already, you can use it for project reviews. So looking back on a project, what did we feel at each stage of the project if you're working in a linear type project? It's sort of a journey mapping exercise for projects, right? But you have the cards and the labels for the emotions. Because if I was feeling uncomfortable, if I was feeling joy at the first stage of the project, I wonder why that was, and what does that say about what happened at that part of the project, what triggered me to feel that way, etc. And it just becomes a really interesting way to review a project. It doesn't normally happen. You normally talk about what went well and what didn't go well, but once again, don't go to the emotion aspect of it. So I think certainly, I can't remember her name, but the idea for project intention setting for Agile coaches is a really interesting one that she was excited to try, and I was like, that's cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
I can't remember the first question. That was your second one of your questions, wasn't it?
Oh, that was about the online deck.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. So this is sort of part of it. So for the you can download this from the website. I'll just go through it really quickly. So you would just literally, there's 3 exercises that you can do in this workshop. And you'd have a look at it, download it, play around with it yourself. But you would not need anything. You don't need to set anything up. All you need to do is screen share this. And you've seen it, obviously, Karen, by going through the course. But the first exercise is the weekly retro. So you literally get people to look at the screen and then get a post-it, a pad of post-it notes and write down the ones that they pick, because some teams won't have the cards in this environment. And then you then share a story about why you chose that card. That's the weekly retro exercise. I don't have time to take you through this one by one, but download it and check it out. And then the second exercise is the self-awareness piece we sort of just touched on there. How do I want to feel at work? So you go through the same thing, but pick 5 black cards that you want to feel at work. My success relies on me feeling this. So you can screen share your way through the workshop that you once had to have physical cards with, where people are in rooms. And this idea came about because of from a really amazing company in Amsterdam. They'd been using the cards lots, but when they went into lockdown, their clients were still asking them to run workshops, and they decided to put all the cards on one page. And I was like, wow, that is so very, very, very cool. And I was skeptical at first because I've designed it to be a face-to-face game, but it turns out this can be really powerful. And then I've subsequently, over this lockdown period, our lockdown period here in New Zealand, used this 5 or 6 different times with different clients and teams. So it's not my favorite option. It's not my number one option, but it's certainly something you can do when you've got no other options on the table. Yeah. And then The last thing I'll show you just quickly, just to give you a sneak peek. Unfortunately, I can't. Or Karen, you're a pro elephant. You're an elephant rider, so you can get access to this as an elephant rider. But we're only beta testing it with elephant riders. But if you, can you see my screen now? This Miro board?
Yep.
So the whole Map Your Emotional Culture workshop, so the one you may have already downloaded, we've designed into Miro here. This is the whole thing.
Right, yeah.
And then if you zoom in, well, I'll zoom in, sorry. And forgive how slow that is. My internet is a little bit slow today. All the cards are in here. And so it just becomes a card.
Perfect. Yeah. That looks great.
And then all the step cards. So this is designed for a team of 10. Ignore those names. Those names are just placeholder names. And Rebecca, for instance, would then go, okay, it's important I feel humble, grateful, equal, playful. My success relies on me feeling these ones. And then you'd naturally then go, okay, these are the most important. So it's just a really interactive way. Anybody can work in their own boards. You can screen share your way through it.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's about 20 people testing. I think 4 or 5 in our group have really tested it properly so far. And they've been sharing their feedback, which is cool. And it's exciting that people can still run these workshops virtually. Because I didn't design them for that way whatsoever. This is an unexpected, unintended consequence of a really tragic and crippling virus. Yeah, so that's a little sneak peek. If you wanted to get access to that, Karen, it's just Tony, Monique, and Prabha. Elephant riders are people who've gone through the Online Masterclass course, and they've got to tier 1 of our partners. And we do a lot of beta test. I do a lot of beta testing with our tools with that group of people. And so, Karen, if you did want access, just send me a message and we can make sure you can get into it and test it for us.